Welcome back to my long-term world. Last episode, we built ourselves a working XP farm, we went to the nether for the very first time, and we made an enchanting cottage to help us get better geared up. Today, I want to focus our attention to the mines, the nether, and starting to transform some of these villager houses into some cozy custom ones. Now, last episode, we were able to craft up some diamond tools, and we were able to enchant them, and I'd say we got some pretty good enchants. Now, because we have this silk touch pickaxe, I was able to go into the mines from our live streams and collect up all of the diamond ore we had found. We also were able to get this Fortune 3 book, which I figured we will start off today by crafting up a brand new pickaxe so that we can put this Fortune 3 on the pickaxe. So let's quickly add Fortune 3 onto the pickaxe, and we'll pillar up our diamonds that we collected on stream, which if you're not able to watch my live streams when they're live, I actually post all of my VODs to my second channel, Da Little Blue, if you want to go check those out. All right, we've got our giant stack of diamonds. Now, I'm gonna guess we will get 89 diamonds. So you comment below what you think we'll get for diamonds. And here we go. Using our Fortune 3 pickaxe, we'll see how many diamonds we get. All right, let's see how many diamonds we got. A stack and 20. You know, I was pretty on par. We got 84 and I said 89. We got over double because we had 41 and we ended up with 84. So a little over a doubling just because of Fortune 3. That was definitely worth the time that it took to get Fortune 3. Also, in some off-camera time, I decided to add some enchants onto an iron sword, and this is what one roll on the enchanting table got me. Like, I have never gotten so lucky and so many enchants off of a single item in an enchanting table. Like, this is the most I've ever received from the enchanting table, and I was in shock. I had to mention that to you guys because looting 3 when you're like starting out in a world is so helpful, especially since I do want to go to the nether to find some potion supplies, because if you can't hear, our Fletcher is now zombified, and we also had the shepherds turn into zombies, and we've had this librarian guy from the beginning, so we definitely have to cure all these guys that got maunched by the zombies. But before we do that, I want some better armor, so we are going to make a full set of diamond armor for the very first time in our world, and we are going to take this over to our enchanting table to see what we can get. So we'll grab some lapis, and I say we start with the helmet. We've got Unbreaking 3, the chest plate, Thorns 2, leggings, protection 4. I'd say for sure we go for protection 4. Okay, just protection 4. And what about the boots? Oh, projectile? Okay, that's nice for skeletons, and that's fine. But Featherfall 4, I was a little bit nervous to replace our iron Featherfall boots, but this is slightly better, so I will take that. We'll also put our protection 4 pants on, and now that we've reset the table, let's see what we can get. Unbreaking 3 on the helmet, Unbreaking 3 on the chest plate. Protection 3 and Thorns 2. Okay, if we get hit, that'll help us a bit. Protection 3 isn't the best. Yeah, just Protection 3. All right, I am going to re-roll this helmet. See if we can get something better. Unbreaking 3. The same thing. Okay. We are going to get something better from this table, except I need more levels, so we get to quickly stop down at the skeleton XP farm to do some swiping. So we spent the next bit of time trying to get better enchants on our helmet and our chest plate until we finally got some enchants that we were happy with. All right, protection 4, blast 4, proc 4, and projectile 4 and featherfall 4. I feel like that's pretty good, right? We've got a good mix of mostly protection 4, but also some projectile and some blast in case of, well, creepers and skeletons. And as much as I want to keep procrastinating, not going to the nether, I really want to be able to cure these zombie villagers, because I think what I want to do is I do want to move some of these guys, but they are just in the way, and I don't want to have to worry about only moving the villagers at night out of these houses just so that I can build some of these houses. So let's go grab our little gold boots. We'll also put away all of our diamonds. Then I also want to have a little spot for all of the armor that I have been wearing, my very first set of iron armor, because I'd love to put it on an armor stand and then put it in one of our builds. And we make a helmet. I'm also going to bring a bow with us because I believe we can enchant bows. I also have a fire res potion, so we're definitely bringing that with us. And then I think for now we should be good. So let's go enchant our bow, grab some arrows from the Skelly XP farm, and then we're going into the nether. I promise I'm not trying to procrastinate. Well, at least not too much. All right, let's see what our gold helmet can get us. We got Unbreaking 3 versus our bow is Unbreaking 3. Let's do our helmet first. Protection 4. Oh, that's actually so good. Okay, and I love how with my minimal armor, the little gold helmets make like a gold crown with some like rubies on it. It looks so fashionable. And let's see, punch 2 for the bow and power 4. I'll take that. That is not too shabby. I found a bow from a skeleton, and it looks like we could get no way. Flame and Unbreaking and punch. Oh my gosh, this is gonna be so OP. Okay, I think once I use an anvil to combine these bows, we can go into the nether. I really think it's funny how every time I am like talking about going into the nether, I just end up doing a bunch of little side quests and projects because I'm just procrastinating. Let's see, 15 or 15. It really doesn't matter which order these are in. They're both 15. So let's get our power 5 flame punch 2 unbreaking bow. All right, we are ready to go on an adventure into the nether looking for a fortress. I hope it doesn't take us too long. All right, we've made it to our first nether fortress, and I'm a little bit nervous. I'm trying to see. There's a blaze spawner right there. I think in these bottom rooms is where we'll be able to find some nether wart. Trying to see if there's anything that could be in here. I feel like this could actually be a really good way to get in. So let's go around this way. Ooh, yes, I was right. Okay, if I can just go straight down here. Hopefully they won't see me. Okay. I'm in. And I'm terrified. Okay. And as I entered the fortress, I had every right to be terrified, as a wither skeleton had seen me from above and came down and hit me with the wither effect, so I ran away like the professional Minecrafter that I am. Once I finally killed them and it was safe to continue exploring, I went back to collect up all of the nether wart and soul sand before we continued blocking off the hallways to make them safer as we explored. Let's create a barrier here. Okay, downstairs. Let's just keep looking around. Ooh, our first chest. Will we get a trim? I would love if we could find a trim. 2 saddles. That's not exactly what I was hoping for. Okay, a magma cream. Ooh. Okay, it's fine. It's fine. I'm on fire. It's fine though, everything's fine. As we approached, we carefully checked the chest nearby, and then we were able to sneak up and kill the blaze. Yay, we got 2 blaze rods from that. Let's go. Okay, I've already gotten that. Okay, 2 blaze rods. I don't think I need a whole lot, so honestly, we could be done, but I am curious to explore a little bit more. We've got another chest. More diamonds. I've gotten 6 from here. Are you kidding me? That's pretty sweet. Okay. And after a bit more wandering around the halls, getting more loot, and dealing with some fire squishies, we finally made our way back home. Back in the overworld, we replaced one of our planter boxes to make room for another warp planter box so we could make our first potion to cure the villagers. We'll just add that in there, and then if we grab some gunpowder, we should be able to make it a splash potion. So once the fermented spider eye goes all the way through, we'll add in our gunpowder. And we'll turn it into a splash potion. Now, I just realized that I have the apples required, but I just used all of my gold to trade with the piglins in the nether, which means our fortune pick and us are going back into the nether real quick. And after we spent some time collecting the gold nugget netherrack, we fortuned it all up and came away with a pretty good haul. All right, we've got at least a stack because of what's in our hotbar, but it looks like, oh wow, we got so many. Now we'll make our 4 golden apples up, which is wonderful. All right, we're just gonna break into the wall here, and I think that should work, right? 1, owie, 2, all right. Perfect. Now we can just wait until these guys will convert into villagers, and then as far as which house we're going to transform first from the default houses, I think because this alleyway is really crammed right now, I do like the idea of taking one of these 3 houses on this right side and removing it. And I kind of think that if we remove this one on the end and probably move it somewhere over here into this open area, that would be perfect. Now, the other thing that I want to do today is we are going to have a focus on the mines. And by that, I mean I want to transform this house right here, which is what we've been using for our mining outpost staircase to get down to diamond level. On a live stream, I did start converting this into a little bit more of a pretty aesthetic build, and we've been adding a little rail system to get down to our mines. But I want to focus today on making this look better than this. So we are going to transform this house into something prettier and move it over there. We're going to transform this mining outpost build into something much bigger and prettier, and it will give us more of a storage space for all of our mining resources that we pull up from the mines. And I think we'll also tear down and transform this house that we have our Mr. Fortune 3 and Flame in. So now that you know what builds we are going to be transforming, we are going to clear our inventory and start tearing down these 3 houses and making a layout and outline for their new placements. Ooh, we got Zombie Doctor. Okay, before we start tearing down the houses, let's go pay a visit to our new villagers. All right, it looks like the 2 villagers that were in the boat both cured at the same time. I was kind of concerned that if the Zombie Doctor advancement only transformed one of them, that the actual zombie would just turn it back into a zombie villager. But it sounds like, yay, all 3 of them are back to normal. Oh, that's so good. All right, we've blocked off the doors so that hopefully we won't have any issues with zombies getting to them. We should have some lights in there as well, but we'll just also make sure there's plenty of torches, so these guys should stay alive now. All right, I was able to move our villager into a boat so that they won't run off while we're building and turn into, well, that guy. Now we can remove this house in peace without worrying about them dying in the wilderness. All right, we've gotten 2 of the houses torn down and the outpost. Now we just have this very ugly, awkward hole down into the mines. The next thing we're gonna do is clear out a bunch of the trees over here because I want to create kind of a little alleyway for the streets and the houses, but it is going to be much wider than what we have over here from the default structures. So we are just going to clear some trees and then use our cobblestone to mark out where we're going to have some houses and a little roadway. All right, you could kind of tell from our little time lapse what the shapes are of these builds, but I think that these are going to be really fun additions. They're both very different shapes, and I think it'll be kind of cool just to have some different variety to the shapes. On our map, it also looks really cool to have these different shapes because the starter village houses are very just rectangular, so I think to make them more custom looking, if we add some different shapes to all of them, I think it's gonna look pretty good. Now, as far as the block palette, I am going to stick with a very similar color palette and block palette to what we have for our starter house here. So we're going to use lots of spruce. I've already grabbed some calcite and diorite from our storage area, but I did remember that we have our little board that we can check off a few things from. So we have our enchanting table all set up inside the enchanting cottage, so we'll take this off the list. But we also have our skeleton farm done, but we don't have all of the exports yet figured out, so we're just going to leave this up for now, but we will remove our skeleton XP farm off of this, so then it will just say skeleton exports as what is the next thing to get done for the skeleton task. And for now, we'll just pop this board back up, and I realize I probably could have just deleted the text off of this to keep the purple effect on it, but you know, that's fine. We'll just deal with that later on. But for now, we're just going to start working on building up these houses. All right, we've completed the exterior of our two villager houses, and I even moved in our little Fortune 3 guy. But this is what our houses look like. We already have a wandering trader that stopped by, but this is our first house. This is where we're going to have our Fortune 3 guy living, and we do have 2 levels to this, but we've just got room for little side bits that we can decorate, a larger interior in the middle. Upstairs, we've just got extra storage. I don't even know what I want to put up here, but we've got lots of space to put things. Then if we go check out the other house, if I could get down the ladder, there we go. And here is the entrance to the other house. We used a lot of diorite and calcite for these walls. And on the second level, we used the pale oak planks and stripped pale oak, and we used some white stained glass. But I really like how the roofs are very different, but at the same time, because both of these roofs have the deep slate trim and the spruce pillars and kind of a white block variant wall texture, they do still look the same, but from our map, the roofs are very different themselves, but I think this one is my favorite. This room specifically kind of reminds me of where an enchanting table could go, but we already have that taken care of, so you'll have to let me know in the comments what we should add into this room going forward. Part of me kind of wants to just make like a bottom level be like villager housing, since that's what we were replacing 2 houses with, but the upstairs, we could make this be kind of like our museum room maybe for all of our firsts, like the first pickaxe and first axe in the world, the day that we started this world, and like when we go and fight the dragon, the day we fought the dragon, things like that. So let me know what you think should be in this upper area, but we do still need to do a little bit more decorating of the interiors of these 2 builds. We're not going to get super specific. I'm kind of just thinking we'll add like crafting tables, we'll add in some counters with some slabs or stairs around the edges, and then we'll get our little Fortune 3 guy into place. I'm kind of thinking that maybe we'll create little like workstations for them to stay back here, and then we'll kind of like box them off behind like a counter, like they're selling books to us. That's kind of the thought that I had, but we'll just spend some time adding some more decoration to the interiors of these two builds. All right, we've got our Fortune 3 guy in place, and I actually really like the idea of using the glass to kind of just box them in, and then I can move this counter if I want to. However, they do immediately escape. So I have to be careful with this, but I'm thinking that we'll put another one right here. And because we have this little villager right here, I think it's time that we finally cure them, since they've been here since episode 1, and then we can let our fox friend free as well. Inside our barrel, we have our weakness potion and our golden apple, so let's go cure this guy. Hiya! There we go, and now we wait. And while we're waiting, I kind of want to just decorate this area, so let's spend some time decorating our new little librarian's hut. I'm kind of thinking that this one will mainly be full of bookshelves and barrels and different things. I think that will look really cute in here, and it fits the vibe that we're going for with all of these little librarians having books to sell us. We can stack them inside the chiseled bookshelves. We'll also have some chests here. We'll add some lanterns for some additional lighting. I'll even put a lantern right there on this corner just so this place is super lit up, and then we can move some of these decorations upstairs. And our final decorative pot we'll add in here, and then I need like a dead bush or something, but maybe for now we'll grab an azalea tree. Oh, and look at our little villager is free. Okay, now we just have to do the work to get them inside the house with our Fortune 3 guy. We then spent the next bit of time working with the librarian, trying to re-roll them until we could get the mending trade. And there we go, mending for 1. And that honestly didn't take me too long. Now, if you'll excuse me, I need to find a way to get you books. All right, we've got 4 books, so we will trade with this guy. Mending for 1. And we can get bookshelves. Oh, this is gonna be so good because look. Now, because this is for our librarians, we can have a bunch of bookshelves in this area and in this house. Oh, I love it. Okay, so we've got our mending buddy and our Fortune 3. I'd say that's pretty good. Now, I did decide that I think having a bed up here would also be good, so maybe this is where we'll put a little bed so that we can just stay here overnight if we're ever trading with the villagers or anything, and then we'll be able to come outside and it will be daytime after sleeping in there. As for this other house, since I'm not exactly sure quite yet what we want to do with it, because I want to see what your thoughts are, we're just going to do some basic decorating of the walls and shelves, and then we can actually fill this in with more specific detail, more themed decorations from there. All right, and we've finished the interior for the more circular build. Now, I did just decorate this with a lot of just shelves and chests and some leaves and lanterns, but since this is technically to replace some of the villager houses, and we did make that other second house the Fletcher's house, kind of like a spot. I'm thinking that this will be where our villagers sleep. So what we need to do is actually clear some spaces where we can put some beds. And I'm thinking on either side of these little spots right here, we'll add in some of our beds on both of the sides here. So we'll just turn these bits into some nightstands, and we will make this a full block on both sides. We'll remove this so this can be a full block, and then we'll put 4 beds in here, and then we need to figure out a way to keep the villagers from escaping the door. And I think instead of using a pale oak door, we will use a pale oak fence gate, and that should work just fine. Come on. Come on, Lucky. I got stuff for you. Wahaha. Okay, villager number 1 is on the move. And just like that, we got our first villager in the house. Yay. Okay, now we go back for the next one. And we will set up some boats to trap these guys. And let's see if I just remove them both from the boat, if they'll each individually track towards one of those things. Let's see if this will work. That was about as smooth as a time as we could make it. Also, I was just having the sheep stare at me. That actually worked incredibly well. I'm very proud of that. Number 2 is also in place. And we just gotta get our 3rd and final villager. There we go. The 3rd villager is in place. Oh, this feels so good. All right, now let's put our wall back and add back in our fence gate. Like so. There we go. Now we'll do F3B, and we can remove them from their boats. There we go. Now I do want... Oh. Okay. I guess they live upstairs now. All right, we've got our beds, and it looks like another one went up. All right, we'll place down some beds here, and I'm gonna sleep as well, so nothing tries to get into here. We're just gonna yoop. Oh, the leaf, yes. All right, guys, I gave you an extra bed so you can make another little villager, so do your thing, please. And that didn't take too long at all. Yay, we've got our first little baby. Hello, buddy. You wanna not stand on your child? Welcome to your Spruce village, buddy. I'd say it is time to move on to the whole the grounds. Now, I'm not exactly sure how I want to build our mining outpost, but for now, let's start with just putting away the resources from building our villager houses, and something will come to me. All right, I have figured out what I want to do for our little mining outpost, and I think what we're gonna have our giant hole be is this. I actually want to cover over with some spruce trapdoors, kind of like we have to open up the shutters into kind of like a basement cellar type of a vibe to go down our little minecart system. So then if this is going to be on a side bit, we're gonna have a house right here, which is why I have all this dirt, because we need to fill all of this in. But then this is gonna be like a little offhang, kind of like what we made here from my house. So then essentially on both sides of the house, we're gonna have little offhangs like this, little side bits. One of them is going to have the little trapdoors to open up into our mining outpost basement little staircase. And on the other side, I kind of want there to be like our smelting area. I think we're gonna go and find some lava and then have like a giant smelter blast furnace type of a vibe on our other overhang. And we need to fill in all of this so that we have enough space and terraformed land to build us the house that our mining outpost is going to sit in. All right, as it has turned to night, we have the structure outline of where we're going to have our build be placed. Now, the last thing that I want to do before we start building up our mining outpost is we need to cure this final villager. I am very tired of having this little zombie villager be interrupting my sleeps because while they're here, I can't sleep inside my house. So I have to keep running over to our new villager houses that we just built and sleeping in these and continuously kick them out of their beds. So we will need to go and grab a bunch more of our gold. So this is our last zombie villager in our area, which is huge. So we do a little splash and we cure them. There we go. All right. Now they'll become a villager and then I don't have to deal with them preventing me from sleeping. But now that we have that guy curing, what we're gonna do is get to work building our house. So we're gonna be building it out of some stone bricks. We're gonna use mossy cobble, we'll use some andesite, cobblestone, and of course some stone. Now our little lean-to side bits are gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, probably 6 long. So our house will start here and then our house is gonna be 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 wide. And then we'll probably just move this over a little bit. So this will be 1, 2, 3, 4, and we'll go 5 and just move this 1 over. And then from here, we'll start building up our house structure first. So we'll just do a variation of our blocks just to have some texture in here. But then here, we're gonna go up 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, now we should have enough space to build. So we are going to have this be a 7 by 7. So this will be our entrance right here. So let's just start building. All right, our mining outpost has been completed. We've got a nice little area where we've collected up a bunch of our different ores from down in the mines. We've got mine carts. We've got our smelting area with our lava pit, and then we've got our furnaces up here. And then we have on the interior just a few more mine carts, furnaces. We've got our little smithing table in here, crafting table, and then we can also add some more barrels and storage in here if we need to. But then on this side, we have another lean-to that has some more rails signifying that you can go down here and there are foxes. But like I was saying, this is just the way that we'll get down into the mines, like our little foxes showcasing. And then we still need to work on the... Oh, there's another one hiding in... And another one! Why are there foxes in my mines? What is going on? But yeah, we've got our mining outpost completed. And I think this is really cute. We also used spruce to fill in our roof because this is the spruce taiga forest. And I did want to kind of give a nod to how the original villager houses look. So we did kind of replicate that on this roof and on our roof where we have our 2 librarians. But since we now have the mining outpost completed, we've got our house for our 2 little librarians completed, and we got our mending, and we have our little villagers hanging out in here in their newly customized house. The last thing that we need to do is give a name to our dog. I already mentioned before that this white dog is going to be named Arlo after my IRL doggo, but we do need to name this little one. That was the woods wolf with the blue collar as well. And I don't exactly have name tags right now, so I think what we'll do is we'll maybe just get a little sign and maybe we'll put little like placards up by our house. And so let's put our little doggo's names on top some signs. And we have Arlo for our white dog, and our other woods wolf is going to be called River. I thought River would be a good name because we do have a blue collar, and because someone also mentioned that an idea for a different name could be Bailey because we live by a bay, and so I figured that combining kind of that river, water type of a vibe would be good, especially since we are going to be exporting some goods from here. So in kind of the same spirit of Bailey being by the bay, being by the river, we found them by the river, we've got River, and we've got Arlo. Now, in real life, Arlo has a green collar, but we have not found Cactus yet, so that will be a future red adventure, but for now, they'll just keep their little red collar. But with our 2 doggos named, us having a beautiful mining outpost completed, we were able to make a house for 4 of the villagers and customize one of the villager houses, and we have a house for our librarians. That is going to wrap up this episode. I hope you enjoyed hanging out with me and seeing how our build adventures went. I hope you subscribe, and I will see you in the next one.